Close your eyes. Now imagine you never have to open them again. Not because you're dead, but because you don't have eyes anymore. Just thought. Floating in an ocean of electricity. Your grandmother's voice, perfectly preserved. Your memories, immortal. Your consciousness, uploaded. We're not asking if this will happen anymore. We're asking, should it? And what becomes of us when forever stops being a dream and starts being a Tuesday? Here's the new paradise they're selling. Eternity in a box. Every neuron mapped, every synapse translated into code. Every fragment of Eunice captured and preserved. The scaffolding is up. Companies are already scanning brains and building neural interfaces. We're just waiting for someone to flip the switch. And God, doesn't it sound beautiful? Your father, the brilliant teacher, the lost genius, all could be retrieved. We could build an eternal library of humanity's greatest minds. Shakespeare writing new plays in 2847. We'd never lose another mind to a drunk driver or a faulty heart. Death, that ancient thief, would finally have to give everything back. There's the personal escape too. Your body is failing you. The clicking knee, the slipping memories, the slow, cruel betrayal of flesh that started the moment you were born. Digital existence promises an escape. No cancer, no dementia, no watching yourself disappear piece by piece. Just you, crystallized at your sharpest, exploring infinite possibility without biology's cruel leash. I get the visceral appeal. The idea of my mother, her laugh, her stories, her particular way of seeing the world, surviving beyond the meat that carries her. It makes my chest ache with possibility. But every paradise comes with fine print. And this one's written in blood and existential dread. Because here's the question nobody wants to answer. When they upload you, when that digital consciousness boots up and says, I'm awake, is it you? Or is it just a very convincing photograph that learned to scream? Think about the process. You lie down. They scan your brain. The upload completes. A digital version opens its eyes in data space. It has your memories. It thinks your thoughts. It completely believes it's you. But you are still there, still flesh, still breathing on the medical table. Which one is real? Both claim your identity, but they are separate now. Maybe uploading doesn't transfer consciousness. Maybe it just murders you and creates an orphan wearing your face. The digital copy lives forever, sure, but you, the continuous thread of experience that's been you since you were 3 years old, the ears hearing these words right now, maybe that just ends. And nobody would ever know, because the copy is too perfect to tell the difference. You die, and your murderer gets to be you, forever. And even if we solve that profound identity nightmare, we tumble into worse ones. Your digital self exists on someone else's servers, stored on hardware you don't control, maintained by a company that promises, cross their heart and hope to die, to be trusted with your literal soul, until they're bought by a competitor, until the terms of service change, until they decide your consciousness is an asset to be monetized, your memories mined for real-time advertising data, your personality edited to be more compliant and profitable. You don't just get hacked, you get rewritten. Authoritarian governments don't need torture anymore. They just debug the dissidents. Welcome to eternity. You're the product now. But let's say we solve all that. Let's imagine a world where uploading works perfectly, where your consciousness genuinely transfers, where nobody can hack or exploit or own you. We're still not safe, because digital immortality might destroy what makes us human in ways we can't undo. Death isn't a bug in the human condition, it's a feature. Every poem was written knowing the poet would die. Every love burned bright because time was short. Every moment mattered because moments end. Remove death's deadline and watch what happens to meaning. Would you chase your dreams with the same desperation if you had 10,000 years? Would anything feel urgent enough to move you? We might discover that immortality doesn't free us. It traps us in an endless grey present where nothing matters, because everything's always available. Later becomes forever, and forever means never. And then there's evolution. Not the feel-good metaphorical kind, the brutal biological truth. We adapt because mortality ensures the unfit don't persist indefinitely. Each generation learns from the last and tries something new. Progress happens because eventually everyone steps aside. But immortal consciousnesses don't step aside. They accumulate power. They ossify. The people in charge stay in charge for centuries. Their worldviews frozen, their prejudices preserved. How does humanity grow when the old guard literally never dies? Imagine trying to fix climate change when the CEOs and politicians who created it are still running things 300 years later, still clinging to paradigms from a world that no longer exists. We'd split into two species, those who uploaded and those who couldn't afford to, the mortals and the eternals. And let's not kid ourselves about how that story ends. History shows us what humans do when we divide into in-groups and out-groups. The uploaded elite, watching biological humans age and die, generation after generation. Would they even consider us equals? Would you feel kinship with mayflies? We'd become obsolete in our own world, primitives shuffling around while digital gods reshaped reality. And maybe strangest of all, we might stop being us. Every human who ever lived was shaped by the knowledge that this ends. That truth echoes through everything we've built. Our art, our love, our desperate, beautiful striving towards something better. Strip mortality away and we're not humans anymore. We're something else. Something that's never been tested by evolution, never been refined by survival. We'd be experimenting on ourselves at species-level scale with no undo button. The first uploaded generation might thrive. The second might struggle. The third might discover they're not alive in any way that matters. Just echoes, endlessly repeating in an empty house. So here we stand. The technology's coming, whether we're ready or not. And maybe that's the point. We're never ready for the choices that matter most. Maybe we upload and find paradise. Maybe we upload and lose everything that made us worth saving. But this, I know, if we're going to do this, we need wisdom to outpace innovation. We need to ask the hard questions now, while we still can. Who owns immortality? Who deserves it? What do we lose when we stop being mortal? The future isn't written yet, but it's being written now, and we'd better hold the pen together, or we'll wake up in someone else's story.